Hello everyone, and I'm back. So it looks like ToQGer. Wow, look where they actually ended us off. And it looks like we have a long way to actually wait for it. Let's see. 1 second, let me just do some calculations real quick. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna actually wait 2 weeks for it. I mean, at least it's better than what happened with Sabans right now, which they made us wait for like months for Super Mega Force to continue on, and this actually has continued on since they actually came back, which is truly wacky. But anyways, back to ToQger. So ToQger actually left us off with an awesome cliffhanger. That's an amazing cliffhanger. And as you can notice, for the last two, they stopped doing the ending part. Either that, or it's basically I'm watching from Super Sentai TV or Super Sentai Planet, and sadly they cut it in half. So I don't really know exactly if they cut out the ending or it's just that there was no ending for the last two. But I just think it's worth mentioning. Anyways, so most likely I'll try to get intel of why exactly it's taking it 2 weeks for it to pause like this. But let's continue on with the real thing at hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is the first time ever we actually going to have, because it seems like all the Rangers we have in the team, except for Akari, aka Taram, they're kids. It seems like they're actually kids. We have our first group of Rangers who are actually kids, even though we haven't seen them morph in Ranger form from their kid image or their kid, whatever. But still, it's truly amazing that it could actually be the first team ever, maybe it could be the first team ever, that they're actually kids. All five of them, all kids. Yes, we did have a few Kid Rangers before in Super Sentai. We had Kiba Ranger, he was a kid, and then it turns out that the Gold Ranger from O Ranger actually was a kid as well. And then it took them all the way to now. I think no, it was last year or now. Either way, yeah, Hurricaneger actually just created a third Kid Ranger named Tenkai. And Tenkai actually took up the role as Shurikenger. So, yeah. What happened to the other Shurikenger? We don't know. We're not sure what happened to him. And lastly, we thought he was dead, but then in the next Versus movie, he actually showed up on a cliff, didn't say anything, and just played his guitar to help him out and then disappeared. It's unknown exactly if that was him or it could be another person, or we don't really know. But I can tell you that officially he is not a dead ranger. But we don't know what happened to him exactly. Anyways, yeah, our first team of Kid Rangers. Will they actually end the series off with them finding where they supposed to be and showing their kid form, and they actually morph as their kids into Rangers? If they do that, that will be the biggest bombshell they ever did so far, which will be very, very interesting. But of course, as since they're actually kids, it does clear up a few things. Like, how come there's a big fat gap in their life where they don't remember exactly what they were doing on that? I mean, like, for instance, they could actually have went on their own way and journey in life. Like, for instance, they might have moved away from their own place, and then they could actually remember where they lived, but not where they spent their childhood or something. But instead, it's not really that. It's just they forgot all their memory, and it makes sense that all their memory actually leads up to when they're like maybe 6 years old. Just 6 years missing, which technically can get cut down to 4 years of their lives. So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it does clear up a few things instead of them being like truly blank and they forgot everything. They only just forgot their beginning of life. They just forgot their childhood or their life up to that point, which, as we can see now, that up to that point, they were actually teenagers or adults or whatever you want to call them, or adolescents. They were just more like they were kids. And it's crazy enough that they actually have them. Yeah, the darkness took over and they turned to kids. But the Rainbow Line saved them all. And yeah. But it doesn't really make sense, the fact of how the four got saved, but the Red Ranger was on the other train by accident. Oh, that does make sense because remember in the train they had a bunch of kids. So maybe the Rainbow Line scooped up the four kids, and before he could scoop the last one, the Red Ranger, he actually got scooped up by the Shadow Line, which by the power of the Rainbow Line, he actually is an adult, adolescence instead of actually a kid. That kind of makes sense. But anyways, yeah, put your thoughts down below, and as usual, I'm webbing out. Can't wait for August 10th for it to continue because dang, that was a crazy cliffhanger. So thank you for listening and peace out.